Why do you suppose states chose to place more power in their legislatures than in the other two branches of their governments?
States wanted to place more power in their legislature because of the experiences of Britain's tyrannical rule, and they felt that the judicial and executive branches abused their power.
And going off of that, they felt that they wanted major representation and ended up deciding on the two different houses, one with proportional representation and one with equal representation, just so that everyone had their way in the central government.
In addition to this, America was seen as the land of opportunity, and a possible reason for this, a possible reason for states wanting to place more power in their legislature is that it allowed more participation from citizens in their government, whereas there's usually only a small number of executives, such as one for our president, and in post-French Revolution France, there were 5 in the Directory. More people can vote for more places, more people can run for more places, so it allows a bigger transfer of different ideas.
Is it important that a constitution be written?
I'd say that it would be important for the Constitution to be written, especially going off the anti-federalist point of view, is when they added the Bill of Rights, they wanted their individual rights specifically stated so that the central government couldn't be tyrannical like it was when Britain was ruling over them. And so I think for them that it was really important the Constitution be written and that it was laid out what individual rights were protected by their government and that they couldn't be infringed upon.
It's also important that a constitution be written because it makes adding certain amendments or protection of rights harder to be passed, and that's really important because then laws that may not be seen important by the country as a whole, those can't just be added into the Constitution.
On the other hand, an unwritten constitution allows more easy changing than a written constitution, because a written constitution is one document with very, very specific rules about how it's to be amended. And those rules are difficult, or the regulations are difficult to get through, so amendments are very difficult to pass. I mean, we've only had 17 amendments since the Constitution was officially ratified and adopted. Whereas in a country like Britain, they can reiterate rights, such as from the Magna Carta in 1215 to the English Bill of Rights in 1689, and yeah.
Maddie, put yourself in the way. How might participation in local government help people understand their rights and responsibilities?
If people participate in their local governments, then they're using their rights that are given to them in the Constitution, such as freedom of speech. If they go to their city meetings, then they can voice their opinion and they can show that they're giving their freedom of speech, and it helps them understand that they have the right to do that, where they can. It just helps them participate and know that the limits of their, or the accessibility of all the rights they have.
As in any sport, practice makes perfect. So somebody who decides that they want to play a more active role in their local government might start attending more meetings, and then after they start attending more meetings, might start speaking up at more meetings, and then might end up even running for local office. And the reason, we require government hours in government classes because the whole idea of going through high school is that when you come out, you're an adult, and to be an active citizen, you need to know how to participate in your local government. And as can be seen with our very low voter turnout, that's kind of at a disappointing low. So, practicing participating in local government helps people understand that they have a voice and they can express their voice.
And going off of that about voting, By participating in local government, people might understand how important their other rights are, such as voting or freedom of speech or voicing their opinion at other meetings or going on jury duty so they can understand their government better, and allows them to see what other things are more important too.
And also participation in local government helps shift people's responsibilities because, for example, if a citizen wants to run for local office, their priorities now shift from self-interest to what is best for the common good of the state or the people who they might be representing.
How did the advance in scientific thought and reasoning influence people's ideas about human nature and government?
Francis Bacon's idea of empiricism brought to light the idea, along with other scientific discoveries and treatises such as Newton's Principia, brought this idea that everything could be studied scientifically and not just as a whole. It could be actually studied. And this influenced philosophers like Thomas Hobbes and John Locke, because John Locke was actually a physician. No. So people would bring their outside experience in science into studies of human nature and government. And instead of being some sort of specialty or maybe philosophical idea, it become political thought became political science.
Going off of that, one of these other scientific thoughts that was majorly important was Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest, and that definitely tells a lot about human nature, and people started thinking that it was like the white man's burden, that they had to be the best and rule over everyone else, and that kind of was shown in government, especially in Britain at the time when pretty much all white men, landowning men, ruled. So it just says a lot about human nature.
Going off what Molly said about Darwin's theory, Hobbes' idea is that leaders like Machiavelli, a ruler was most effective if they were feared by the people instead of being a more passionate leader.
What constitutional principles were embodied by the Magna Carta?
Due process was something that was petitioned in the Magna Carta, which is something that we have in our own constitution. And that's a really important thing because it's trial by jury and by peers, which makes it so that a person can't be guilty until, or can't be committed of a crime until proven guilty.
Thinking even more generally than specific rights, such as due process in the Fifth Amendment, the Magna Carta was one of the first expressions of written law, or written law limiting the power of the king. And this is important because our government, our Constitution, is all about limiting the government in its abilities in order to protect ourselves, and that's exactly what the Magna Carta did to the king.
And some other things that were in the Magna Carta that are more specific that we go off of now, like Josie said, due process, but also habeas corpus is in there, which is majorly important, and the right to trial by jury and other things like that.
Okay, let's stop there. First, Nikki, the first thing you did on the very first question is you reiterated the question right back in your answer. That's really, really important. Because a lot of times you guys are going to be thinking about a question and you're not listening, and you're going to go off in a million places. When someone can refocus you back into the question by reiterating exactly what they said before you answer, you get back into focus so you don't go on tangents. So that was a really, really good point. Hang on a second. Tyler, don't ever say possible reasons unless they're asking you a huge speculative question, because your possible reasons don't exist because there's facts that back them up. All right? On the other hand, I want to compliment you because I asked about a written constitution, and you brought it back to the other type, which is an unwritten. You should have answered that first. Okay, because why do we have a written constitution in the United States? Because we came from a society that had a unwritten, and those are the things. So you should answer that first, and the rest of you guys pick up off of that, because that really helps you understand the question. Josie, you hadn't answered the first 2 questions, and then you came back, but you answered first on the next one, which makes it feel like you're always participating, right? It wasn't like they're like, come on, Josie, you gotta answer, right? And that's a very important thing, because you'll feel that tension of someone's not answering, and you picked it up right away, and then it didn't feel like you didn't answer at all, right? So you just came in, so that was really good that you did that. Tyler, you gotta hit it and quit it. Just go on and get in it. Get in and get out, all right? Something we're talking about a lot. You get to the Francis Bacon thing, and you're talking about, well, if John Locke was a PA physician. The judges might not know. You could totally lie to them, and they would never know. Because and maybe they do know, but you sell it like, and they may be like, maybe he was a doctor. I don't know. But I'm being serious, right? Because we're talking about Locke, and not everyone's expert. How many people are experts on Locke? Not very many, right? So you go, and he was a doctor, and he had scientific thought, and you just go along with it, and they're like, yeah. All right? Don't be like, I think he was a doctor. Molly, don't ever say majorly. It was majorly important. Okay, all right. And then Josie, and you guys in that last question. So now we're relating Magna Carta to our Constitution. Where is trial by jury in our Constitution? Where is habeas corpus in our Constitution? Where are those connections? Where is it in Magna Carta? Where is it in our Constitution? Those things become solid answers when you go up. Article 2 or Article 3, Section 3 lays out the first rules for trial by jury, and it's also found in 5th Amendment, 4th Amendment, 5th Amendment, 6th Amendment, 7th Amendment, right? Habeas corpus is in Article 9, Section 2, right? Those things become good. And the last thing, and this is for everybody, when someone makes a good point, you're going to disagree with somebody on your panel, say, I agree with Tyler, or I disagree with Tyler, or I agree with Nikki, or I disagree with Molly. Use them by name, right? Not going off that. Acknowledge them, right? I agree with that, she said, but. Okay? Cool? You guys are done.